Phil. This is the guy right here. Everyone's anticipating what Phil Heath looks like, and everyone's pretty much said that this contest is yours. I think all the fans agree that this contest is yours. You know, we both discussed where you're going to be at this point, somewhere in your career, and you're there. For the first time, I get to sit and watch you compete instead of myself and you.
Yeah.
And instead of you just sitting in the audience because you waited to do the Mr. Olympia. Everyone understands why you waited so long to actually compete in the Olympia, and now you've dominated. I mean, you haven't been below 5th place, which I think we count out that year because you were sick.
Yeah.
I mean, you've pretty much been consistent. This year, walking into the Olympia, I know this has been asked a million times, but your mindset going in, I know you're confident. I know you're in your mind, you know you're going to win. In what fashion are you going to do it is my question.
Well, you know, I mean, I was able to win last year, you know, with a perfect score, straight first. And, you know, obviously that was a very hard achievement. And, you know, that's pretty much the goal this year, is to be better than I was last year, because essentially I think if I can best what I showed last year, I should get the same outcome with straight first, you know.
I know going into the Olympia, when I won in 2006, I tried to be better in 7, and then of course, you know, everyone always expects like you to like just explode and do like leaps and bounds every year. How has that affected your training in the last year? Because I know I've been through this, okay? I can stand here and tell you I know exactly what goes through your mind, because you know, and we've talked about this through the year, you're like, you know, I'm gonna show these guys and whatever, but I know it's for yourself, but you get pissed off sometimes. But I don't think you need to improve from last year to win this contest.
Yeah.
But really, what is your mindset really like? Have you thought, okay, I need to improve this or I need to improve that? Like, what have you done? I mean,
I think the coolest thing is just to know that, you know, after last year, realizing that I still have a lot of bodybuilding shows left in me, and knowing that the guys I'm going against kind of don't. So, you know, it was more like, well, let's see how far I can take it, and without ruining my lines.
Just pacing yourself, basically.
And really not, you know, not really changing anything as far as like my training is concerned. Just being more consistent and being more, you know, business-minded, knowing that, hey, you know, just like yourself, you travel all around the world. I got to make sure that I'm eating right. I got to make sure, you know, I had to really be mean to some promoters this year and tell them, like, I've got to train. I can't be screwing around. You got to open up the gym at 2 a.m. when I get off the plane because I'm jet lagged. I still have to train. And just really being more diligent with that, and also telling my friends and family, like, look, I have to be grounded. I have to shut it down. And I remember you telling me this, you know, a long time ago, that you shut it down around 12 weeks out.
You got to get selfish.
And you get selfish, and then essentially people do understand. But for me, it was all about that and getting in my zone and not really worrying about, okay, like, you know, there'd be those days where I almost wanted to call you and be like, how did you handle this? Like, how did you handle it? Because it's the level of expectation that is so great. But at the end of the day, these fans, they just want to see the unbelievable.
You know what's amazing though is like you want to win that Mr. Olympia, right?
Right.
But you don't think about all the things that come with it. You know, I told you, Phil, you're gonna like double your workload when you become Mr. Olympia, and I know everything I've told him is come true.
Yeah.
So, you know, your phone rings off the wall, people you want you here, there, and, you know, they're always like, they forget about, you know, Phil Heath, the bodybuilder, because they look at the businessman. I mean, that's when you have to separate being a businessman to being a bodybuilder, and, you know, you shut it out for the contest for 3 or 4 months. And I mean, this is what's going to make you, mold you into Mr. Olympia. You're there. You've matured into that. I told, you know, in all the interviews, people ask, you know, what's Phil like now compared to what he was? He's matured into what is Mr. Olympia stands for.
I appreciate that. Yeah, no, I mean, obviously you laid the groundwork. You know, a lot of people don't realize that, you know, is that you being more role model, mentor, what have you, for guys like myself has been key to my success, because really, you know, who do we pattern ourselves, you know, by? And even when you weren't winning, you know, the Mr. Olympia, you were always regarded as, you know, the most mature, you know, class act on the scene. and definitely helped me, because it's almost like, well, what would Jay do in this situation? And it's really helped me out quite a bit, to really try to alleviate stress, because I think that's the biggest thing with being the champ that can really ruin you, is the stress and second guessing yourself on every little thing, and really at the end of the day, it's just bodybuilding. It's just lifting, taking good notes of what worked, and then just being a student of yourself. If this didn't work then don't do it.
Yeah, you have to be open-minded, trial and error.
And sometimes it is going against conventional wisdom, at times, just to get the great result, was being a champion. And, I have to tip my hat to you for always being that guy. I mean, I seen you like earlier today, you're walking around still talking to people, and that's definitely something that I think a Mr. Olympia should always do. And that's something that I will be doing, because all in all, I mean, we're all in this small fraternity to help bodybuilding grow. And it's been a pleasure, and tonight it's going to be no different. I'm going to go up there and have a great time for these fans, and probably show them something that's pretty impressive, I think.
let's I'm going to ask a question the fans might want to know. What's the pose that is going to just blow everyone away at this Olympia that I know you have crazy poses, there's detail all over the place and it pops, but what's going to be the pose that just it's like, boom, lights out, here you go, here's Phil Heath, Mr. Olympia, I'm here to stay, and, let's get this show over? I
think it's going to start where it started with you, which is the front relaxed. I think a lot of guys fail to realize, and it was up until you told me in India, like, you were beating people based on just standing there.
Yeah.
And that was something that I really was trying to hone in on, trying to work harder and hope that muscle maturity would now kick in, so then I would have hanging muscle, because that's where people were like, whoa. And then I hit the front double bicep. Then I go into the side shots. And I'd say the rear double bicep is where people are going to probably scream the hardest, and most likely going into the the most muscular. I think my shoulders and everything are round, and it'll be a done deal. But I've got to do the work. I've got to getting called over to go pump up and stuff and get this oil on and have at it.
We got to ask the question, are the arms any bigger this year?
No. If anything, they probably are, but I've rounded out everything else, so it's been good.
Well, I know I taped mine at 22 and a half inches. You think you can yours at 22 and a half inches? This was before when I was huge.
For sure.
Okay.
For sure.
So we taped our arms. Phil's were smaller, but I did definitely bigger now, that's for sure. But I'm coming back for it, so we'll see what happens.
Right on.
Phil Heath, NPC News Online, Mr. Olympia. I predict number 2. This is the guy right here, so thank you.